to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
Sparkle, thank you for having me.
I wanted to have you for a while. I hear nothing but great things about you all the time, everywhere.
You're very kind, thank you.
You're very, very well talked about, man. Okay, so tell me when you got started into all of this, to running.
You know, this has been more of a recent thing. Just a little bit about my background. I grew up here in the United States as a migrant worker. I'm a naturalized citizen. I was born in Mexico. I was raised up in Washington State.
So how old were you when you came over?
I was very young. I want to say 5, 4.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have recollection of coming across. I remember playing in the orchards and, you know, having fun with my family, and that's all I remember, but I don't remember crossing or anything like that. So I don't know that part. I just know that I came here and this is home. I enlisted in the Marine Corps. That's how I left the orchards. And the Marine Corps was a blessing. I went to school. At school, I was introduced to the Army ROTC program, and that's how I became a commissioned officer. I had the blessings of leading troops in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's so cool.
I got to go teach at West Point. It was a wonderful experience. I taught international relations there, and after 23 years, I retired here in the Valley.
Why? So what made you come here?
I had the fortune of leading the leadership department here at Fresno State.
Okay.
I was the ROTC commander, and when I retired in 2015, I had the opportunity of then being brought on as the CEO of the Veterans Memorial District in Clovis, and that's where I've been for the last 10 years.
That is so cool. I love it.
It's been a lot of fun. And, you know, my life has been serving others where there's a need. I love to apply what I can do to either bring others to help out. And what I have noticed is it's becoming harder and harder to find the American dream here in the Valley. And this Valley is blessed beyond what we realize. I mean, not only do we feed the world, and I've said this many times, I quite frankly believe that if we could just apply that same creative talent to the challenges that we have here to serve the community, this Valley has the potential of leading not just locally, but quite frankly, around the world. We're already doing that when we look at some of the initiatives that some of our farmers have come up with and how they are able to manage water. I mean, they have figured out how to be such great stewards of water. And no matter how much they turn down the valves, they find a way of producing every single time. And they've been able to make this valley the most productive valley in the world. But now it's just getting tougher and tougher. And I cannot stand by and just watch this continue. So I talked to my wife and she said, honey, I think it's time. So I've put my name in the hat, and I look forward to working with other folks like yourself and other people in the Valley that believe that it is possible to find that dream. Our kids should not be going somewhere else to find their dreams to become true. I want them to go find some good education and come home. Quite frankly, we've got some world-renowned education right here in our Valley. Now it's a matter of finding those jobs, and we have great jobs. It's a matter of making sure that education creates opportunity for internships, apprenticeships. We've got some great industry. You know, we've got the upcoming big manufacturing exposition here. There is so much opportunity. We just need to get out of the way and create opportunities to build those relationships between those who are looking for the work to those who need the talent, and get the regulation out of the way to make sure they prosper. And this valley will prosper. It's just a matter of bringing some common sense back to Washington and making sure our values are being represented.
What surprised you the most, like when you lived here and you kind of found out how everything functions? I know you said that you were really impressed by the farmers and the water. What were some of the things that you were most surprised about?
What I love to see is how giving everyone is. I see so many folks who, there's a need, people come together and they work. I love working with Jim Franklin out here with Cornerstone Community Care, and how with Cornerstone, they come together, there's a need, they serve that need, and they make sure that they help out. You know, they've got Showers of Hope. They've got this remarkable food distribution They've got this center that provides for folks who don't have resources like, clothing and whatnot. They bring dignity to the experience. And while folks might find themselves in a dire strait, there are so many guardian angels around here that are ready to help and serve each other. I love doing that. And that's why I tell folks, if your hands aren't dirty, then you're one of the folks that need to get into the game, because there's so much opportunity to serve. And it's just a matter of all of us getting our hands dirty. Many hands do make light work.
That's very true. And so when did you decide, oh my gosh, now I'm going to jump into this seat? Because you're a very busy guy. You have all this cool stuff going. Why do you want to get into politics?
Well, politics is about service, service of our neighbor. And that's what I've been doing thus far. When you serve others, it's just a matter of being an advocate for our community. The current incumbent has been in office for over 5 decades and 2 decades in this position alone. And I would ask the community, are you better off? If you're not, then expect more, demand more. I offer a new perspective, and that perspective is one that is wedded in service to a community and to our fellow neighbors. I want to work for our community where the service benefits our community in the form of bringing down costs. It's too expensive. Affordability is making it so difficult to find those dreams here. Making sure that those jobs are available here. And it's about advocacy that serves our valley, not our political party. I see that we've become too partisan, and there was a time where 2 different political perspectives were there was a tension there, but it was to the benefit of America. And now I'm seeing one side that will tell you about how America is all these horrible things. America is still the greatest nation on earth. I believe it. I think everyone who continues to pursue an opportunity to come to this nation understands it. It's now a matter of making sure that those who are elected to serve in office remember how blessed they are, and it's America that they serve. It's America First policy. For me, it starts with a Valley First, a Valley Strong policy. And I want to work with those who believe in this valley, because if we start with our valley, we then go to our state, and that's how we build a strong America. I believe in that. That's what I fought for while I was in uniform. That's what I'll fight for right now, and I look forward to working with others who believe in that as well.
Oh, that's great. Immigration, I know you kind of said that you were born in Mexico, you came here, you came here legally. How do you feel about people not coming here legally?
Well, that is a real complicated issue. Look, we need the labor, and I think there's opportunities for that. I think immigration is a difficult topic, but a topic that can be addressed. We've seen it work before, whether it's the Bracero program, where there's a lot of folks here in this valley who are benefactors of that. So there's a system that has worked in the past where the need was there, the labor was there, and the dignity of protecting the person coming and going back home was there, and the laws reflected it.
Right.
Now it concerns me, we have legislators who are out there protesting and making ridiculous claims about kings and whatnot, when in all actuality, you want to change the focus of ICE, it starts with changing the laws. When a legislator is out there protesting, what the legislator should be doing is getting back to work, writing a bill that can go through the House and make sure that the president signs into law a new law that reflects the values of this country. And you will see that ICE will shift and now enforce the law of the land. When we make the enforcer the villain, we have lost focus. Our law enforcement, they're some great people, and we should honor them and care for them. These are some hardworking Americans, and I will tell you, there's a lot of Latinos that are first generation that work for ICE. They're not the criminals. The real crime are those who are trying to evoke this emotion and confuse the conversation, and they are the ones that are responsible for the situation that we're in. Let's get a law in place that reflects a clear process that people can then follow, that's responsive to the needs, and it can be done. It's been done before, and we need to get back to doing that. But it starts by getting those that are legislating to get their butts back to work and stop playing these politic games that hurt everyday Americans. That's what I think we need to start with.
And what are the concerns? 'Cause I'm sure you talk a lot, like in your community. You belong to every community, really. It's like when it's broken down, because you have the veterans, you have Latinos, you have this, you have that. And so when you do talk to other people that came here legally, what are they saying? I would think they'd be the most upset, the people that did, that were born somewhere else and they came here and they went through the process, and other people are trying to bypass. I would feel like they'd be the most upset.
I think everybody has some empathy for the fact that everyone who's here is, and those who are here who are looking for the opportunities that America blesses them with and are trying to work with the system, people have empathy for, and they want that system to be clearly defined so that they can go through the process. That's the first step. How they got here and whatnot, that's another point of discussion. But the most important part is having a clear process that can be followed, and that the system in place, now the ICE is not the villain, that they are enforcing the laws that reflect the values of our country. I currently see a lot of noise being made, and we're making villains out of the system. But the problem is the system and those associated with it, our legislators, are not doing their job. It's Civics 101. We the people. And this is a democratic republic. So we have a representative who is supposed to be speaking for and on behalf of those back home, right?
Right.
They should be fighting for those values. I'd like to see every incumbent going back into the House, and where immigration is such a topic, and we've seen it articulated very clearly, there should be a bill that goes through, and immigration reform should be top of mind, and it should be addressed. But where is it? I don't see it. Instead, we're making spectacles and really causing more chaos out there, and that's not helping anything. We're pushing a lot of confusion. This whole dialogue of transgenderism and pronouns. Look, we have real issues here. I mean, we have people who can't afford to take care of their homes because cost is so out of control. Here in California, we pay the highest rates, and in the Central Valley, we are the highest rates within California. How does that make sense? And we're going to be fighting these other issues. I think this is where our representatives need to now focus at serving their public and making sure that we serve our public, not our political party. Our political parties should be representing the values and the laws that are in place. If they don't meet those needs, they need to be addressed. And anywhere else that might be it's impossible. But here in this country, it's a matter of will. And I think it's time to get people back to work and get them to serve the public, the American public, not the political party, and stop trying to disassemble America. I think people need to realize what the Constitution's all about and work together to make this the greatest nation on earth. Make America great should not be a political slogan. I personally believe make America great is everyone's duty. And
exactly.
we should be working together to make that happen.
Oh my goodness. This is kind of your first time of really diving into politics. What has been your experience in the past?
In the past, my focus on politics has been nothing more than addressing the local needs. I mean, here locally, my greatest passion was making sure that our military families, as they were transitioning, they were finding jobs. And we have the worst suicide rate ever.
Right.
Because there's a disconnect between leaving the military and getting our military opportunity. There's clear purpose while you're in service, but when you leave, there's this abrupt disconnect. People go to boot camp to disassociate themselves from being civilians, but there is no boot camp to become a civilian. And that's a traumatic experience. Your entire identity, your entire way of life, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, all of that changes, and there's nothing there to help transition. So a lot of the work that I've been doing has been making sure that here in the Valley, we do something different. And I've had the privilege of working with our local Veteran Service Office. And I will tell you, one of the best Veteran Service Office is found here in Fresno.
Really?
Oh my goodness. What they have done has been, instead of working in silos, they have realized the person, when they come in, having to bounce across different organizations to find service is a trauma in and of itself. So what we've done is we've worked together to bring all those resources into one space. I've had the blessing of working as the CEO of the Veterans Memorial District, where I manage space. So what we've done is we use that space, we work with the partners, we bring them all into one space, and now what happens is the veteran, when they show up, they get all of that support and one-stop shop.
That's what's needed. And I've been saying that for a long time. There's so much resources, but it's like, where do you go to just get everything? So you guys created that.
We've been working with programs like that. You know, we host these roundtables. The roundtable that we have with our community service organizations and our veteran service organizations, they come together, and originally they were apprehensive about the whole thing. But it's like, why are we going to come and talk about the programs that we're hosting? If I'm Rotary, that other Kiwanis or that Rotary Club is going to try to take my program away. And what we discovered is when you stop competing and you start complimenting, you know who wins?
Everybody.
Everybody. The public wins because those organizations that have the talent, the treasure, and the resources that are applied, the people that are working in those different organizations, whether it be Kiwanis, Rotary, Elks, Lions, all of those. These are some remarkable organizations with a different mission set.
Yeah.
But when they work together and they say, look, I'm hosting this event, everybody shares about that event, and sometimes they volunteer with that event. What ends up happening is that event is successful. The public is well served. And then they go back and forth. Well, what we have found has been that each event has grown in size. People have enjoyed their experience. The need that they're addressing has been more effectively addressed. And this is where many hands do make light work. And so it's getting more folks to realize we're all in this together. Let's stop competing. And sometimes when we compete for that $1, and we're all nonprofits, what sometimes is best is if you're best situated, we help you get that grant, and we'll work with you. And sometimes the other grant, it's better situated with others. Instead of reproducing the same systems and being less effective and still parceling that $1 to be less effective at addressing the need, we help each other be more effective at garnering those dollars and be more effective at that service. This is that whole concept of complementing, and that's what we've seen. And those are, when you talk about the politics, those are the things I've been working on. Working with youth and making sure that they have good mentors. Big brothers, big sisters. Let me tell you, they're looking for bigs, male bigs, to come, and those are male leaders to come and help kids who are looking for mentors. So I'm going to tell you, if you're a man out there who's looking for an opportunity to make a difference, go check out Big Brothers Big Sisters. We need more men volunteering, and I see a great need where our kids are looking for heroes. And it's time for the adults to turn and serve the kids and realize they're struggling with all this confusion.
Oh, I can only imagine.
and it's time and I see the opportunity. I see challenges, and I see them more as puzzles. And I think those puzzles can be solved if we start listening and start really serving and stop feeding, in this case, parties versus people. You know, I heard recently, people over politics. A friend of mine said that, and I thought it was so spot on. We need to go back to exactly what this country was built on. The only sovereign is we the people. It's time to serve the people. And it's time to, if your hands are clean, get their hands dirty, because there's a lot of need. But I will tell you, in service to others, the greatest reward is also self-serving, because in Rotary, it's service above self is the motto. I have found that to be very true. And since I hung up my uniform, that's what I've dedicated my time.
I love that. How do we get veterans to be a part of this, that you were saying, the biggest Central Valley? I think you said it's the best one. So how do we get everyone to be a part of it? Well,
I will tell you, here with our veterans, we host these quarterly hiring events called strategic hiring events.
Okay.
And that is where veterans come in, we coach them, we go through and review their resumes, provide them an opportunity to look at their appearance. There's coaches for every aspect of it, from resumes to interview techniques, and then we bring them back again this time with the employers, and it's very much like speed dating, right?
That's cool.
And we have the employer come in, interview, and the speed dating is, you're a veteran, you go up there, you've got 3 slides, you tell them who you are, what you're looking for, here's your experience. The employer selects you. You also have the opportunity of selecting some employers. So in the process, everybody gets an interview, and what we have seen has been an incredible success rate. I think right now we're over 85% success over 2-year sustained employment.
Wow, that's really impressive.
And the people that are now doing the hiring, some of them were hired in that same space.
No
So
way.
we're beginning
How
to see
fun.
that process.
Wow, that's really impressive.
I would invite people to check us out. Come to our website at the Clovis Veterans Memorial District.
Okay.
And now I'm switching roles because now I'm talking about my role as a CEO. But to learn more about me, I would ask them to come to riosforcongress.com. And this is a crusade. We're all in this together. It's an opportunity for the change that we're all looking for. Don't get bitter. Don't be upset. If you want to change, get involved and bring about the change that we're looking for. This has been one small example, and this is what I bring to the Valley. I believe in the Valley. I believe in America, and I believe that this is not God-made. This is man-made, and that which is man-made can be changed and brought back to where it needs to be. We need to bring common sense back into the conversation, and that's what I'm looking for.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're all going to follow you. Rios for Congress, that's it, right?
That's it.
On all the platforms. So thank you so much.
Sparkle, thank you for what you do, and I appreciate this time that you spent.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm so happy we finally made this happen.
And
by the
thank
way.
you for having me, Sparkle.
Okay, so tell our viewers who you are and what you do.
Hello, my name is Jalen Swank. I am running for City Council District 3. Currently, I work for the Fresno County Department of Public Health as an administrative caseworker for the California Children's Services Program.
So you must have enjoyed talking to ladies backstage. Huh?
Yeah.
No, it's so cool, like what you do, and I think that the experience you bring is really cool. Like, have we ever had anybody like that on our city council? I feel like we should.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't feel like we ever have.
I don't think so.
I'd have to ask people that were far back into it when I wasn't here. You know what I mean? To see if we ever had anybody with that. But you haven't heard of anybody with like experience like yours, huh?
No, not really. I feel like a lot of people that run are either career politicians or people who are heavily into the political field. I've never been a politician. I'm still young. Every job that I've always had has been very unique, but they've all been different. I've worked in retail, state, city, county level jobs, office, event staff. I've done everything. And so I've learned how to navigate different lanes, learned how to talk to all different types of people, all walks of life, and how to have fun, but also very transferable, serious administrative skills as well that have benefited me in life. So I'm very appreciative for every experience.
That sounds awesome. So what made you take on this task of diving into this world?
Okay, so when I first was thinking about it, I was actually working for the City of Fresno Youth Job Corps program, and I was admin in the Human Resources Department. And so I just started to get an itch for, government level work, administration, and I started to kind of fall in love with it. And at the same time, there were the conversations in the community happening of Miguel Arias is getting ready to term out, who's going to be next. People, there was an outcry of the community. I like to say, people weren't really super excited about current leadership, not really sure what direction they wanted to turn. And we're just kind of looking for something and somebody different and somebody who they can trust and somebody who was unique and would bring things that are outside of the box and would bring everyone together. And I felt like I fit that. But at the same time, I was looking to my left and my right because, I know we often have that, I'm not experienced, I'm young, and, you have those self-doubts.
As we all do.
We all do. So, but when nobody at that time had stepped up, I, prayed about it. I'm a woman of faith, prayed about it, waited on it, and started to really put my head down and say, okay, if this is something I really want to do, let me start to get more serious into my work and see how things work, see if this is something I can see myself doing, see if this is something I'm willing to take on, count the cost. That's what the Bible says to do. See what my risks are. Now I have a daughter. Am I going to be able to handle these things?
Right, that is true.
Yeah, just count the cost. And, I said, what, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to take this up. And I'm going to take it as far as I can take it. And I'm just going to be myself, and that should be enough. And if it's not, I'll meet a bunch of great people along the way. But I'm in for the long haul. I'm in it to win it. So
that is really cool. So when did you decide to run?
Officially, it was January 2024, and just learning the process on my own. I redeclared earlier this year, January 2025, and so now I'm just working on networking and meeting the right people that are going to help me with this campaign and kind of guiding my way. And I'm also I started my master's in public administration too. So I'm kind of learning, so that I can learn, because it's one thing to be a leader. That's natural ability. You can't teach character. I feel like I have a pretty good character. Leadership, that's natural ability, that can be learned a little bit, but you have to know what you're talking about. And so I'm going to go in debt a little bit if it's something I want to do. I'm going to invest in something that I want and something that I want on behalf of the people. So.
Wow, that is really awesome. And so what are people at your job and what's everybody saying when they said, I'm going to run?
No, my favorite, her name is Lucy. She goes, oh, you go, girl. That's her phrase for everything. She's, you go, girl. And they're cheering me on. They know that I can do it. And of course, we can't talk about it, a lot, but they're encouraging me. I have gained a lot of close friends at work. So they
don't let you talk about like running and everything? No. I don't know how the rules are.
I work for the county, so no, you're not supposed to, you can't really like solicit and things like that. Or especially on the job and things like that.
So use that platform like, hey, everybody.
So I do my best to just keep things separate. But because we are friends outside of work, they know, so they're excited for me. So.
How exciting. Wow. I think that's super, super cool. So what do you think you're going to be different, what you're going to bring to it when you in that position that people haven't before?
Honestly, I have a lot of different experiences with different people. So, talking about like formerly incarcerated communities, experiences with being homeless myself, which I shared when we had our first forum, just different experiences of my life that I've had or people that are close to me that will allow me to see policy a little differently, and allow me to, bring ideas forth to the table that maybe no one has thought of because you're looking at it at more of a pen and paper lens,
right.
Or a policy lens rather than a personal experience lens, and saying, hey, these are things that have happened. And then also just looking internally and auditing, because not only the city itself, but these community groups that we give money to, because if you hear the whispers around, people often think, well, the city's wasting money on this and the city's wasting money on that, but sometimes it's our own community organizations that are misappropriating funds as well, and using money for things that they're supposed to be helping our community with. It's not just on us. And so I think bringing that level of accountability not only to the city, but also to the community, and bringing us together and say, hey, how can it be us with the city? How can it be us with administration, and not pit each other against, like, community against the administration? Because that's what it often feels like. Same thing with public safety. It often feels like community against police. My father was a police officer, so I am pro-police. I am pro-public safety. But also looking at what does that look like for the community, and how can we combine those methods? I'm the middle ground, the peacemaker. How can we make it work for everybody? How can we make it work between the county and the city? You know, how can we be on the same page? So, because at the end of the day, it's about the people. It's not really about us. It's not really about, you know, the pocket. It's not about the money. But what is the money going to do for us as a community together? You know,
so I have all these questions in my head. Okay. Like, oh gosh. But so your father was a police officer, but then you ended up homeless. Can you elaborate a little on that? What you're comfortable elaborating on?
Yeah, that's fine. So he was a police officer for the city of Clovis, and he retired and he moved to Las Vegas. So I did have the option to move to Las Vegas, but I had just got into the job with the city of Fresno and the county and things like that. So the first time I became homeless was during COVID. I lost my job like 3 times, and I was in San Diego. I was at San Diego State. So I was kind of hopping, trying to stay in San Diego, and I ended up saying I'm going to come home to Fresno, and I stayed with my mom. And then after that, the second time, I was leaving a relationship. And so I left, and through the City of Fresno Youth Job Corps program, they had a housing stipend situation where I was able to go to my boss and tell her, hey, this is my situation. Can you help me? And they were able to help me get into a hotel. And then I had my first apartment over here in West Fresno, and now I'm in my second apartment. So I've just been moving up from there. So, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I mean,
you've always been trying to like work and get the education, then struggling along the way, like so many people are these days.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really cool perspective that you could bring.
Yeah, and I think too, I've learned a lot of responsibility along the way, and I think I had the option to leave and to, you know, make it easy for myself and go out there and be with my dad, but I enjoyed what I was doing here with the people here, for the people here. And so I felt like as long as I could make that work, as long as possible and as safe as it was for my daughter, then I would make it work. And then if it were to become, you know, unbearable and unsafe, of course, then I probably would have left. But by the grace of God, it's been great. And I've been moving up and up and up, you know, the more I follow what I'm supposed to do. So
right now, like you said, if you got in that seat, those are some things you're going to make. It's kind of like strengthen the relationships so people are working together more instead of apart. What are some other things?
We really got to focus on the housing and the homelessness crisis that's happening right now, and figure out what can we do. I know there are, the main issue is with individuals who do not want housing, and they do not want affordable housing. They just don't want housing, period. They just want to be nomads and they want to roam the land. And I know I was talking a little bit with AJ about that issue as well. And he had said something. I said, hey, I thought of that one time too, that what if we had he said a safe zone, you know, somewhere in the city where they could go and they could be safe and, you know, have their own encampment.
And that's a big thing. And people don't understand that they do. A lot of them really want that, you know, and I've had that experience. I'm so glad that you're bringing that up, because you're like, well, we're going to be, I'm like, no, you don't understand. Go talk to them. Like, they want this.
Yeah, you know, it's not like we're exiling them, and it's not like if that's something that you want, like, how do we develop that?
Yeah.
And so, you know,
how do we give you what you want where you're not hurting anybody and we're all happy?
Exactly, we're all happy. And then, you know, they're talking about affordable housing versus mixed rate housing. I think that if we do build more affordable housing, that we should have more services attached to that. It shouldn't just be, okay, here's this affordable housing and kind of just like, let's see how you do, because most of the problem with moving up is learning those skills along the way, learning how to budget and balance. So we should have, you know, if we're going to allocate money for more affordable housing, we should also be allocating money for caseworkers to be able to work alongside these individuals so that they can get into these first-time home buyer programs. So that it's leveling up and it's not this fluctuation of I'm up and I'm down.
For failure, and nobody wants that. That's not fun. Like,
yeah. So those are some things I would look at, and then just whatever the community. I really want to see what the community wants. I want to be the voice in the vessel. I don't want to control. Those are just things I'm interested in. But
what is one of the things that you're hearing about when you've taught at the community that you were kind of surprised about, that they're upset about it in your area?
About in my area, it's mostly about the roads and the lack of what do you say, like retail that's around, especially in West Fresno. I heard a comment, if there was ever a train issue, they wouldn't be able to get past the train to get something simple as groceries because there's only one grocery store, and talking about the different prices, how it's higher even though there's only one grocery store than other stores. So just things like that, development, but then also in speaking to other people that are working in development, the process, I didn't realize how long it takes for things to roll out. So the community having that lack of understanding that these things are happening, the council people, they hear you, but it's going to take some years for it to happen. And I think I've had the chance, even just waiting now, to see that how all the construction was happening over in District 1 and now it's moving over into District 3. Right. But you have to be able to pay attention to things like that. And I think that's something that I bring too, is more of a teacher informing the community. A lot of people don't think that's the council person's job, but I feel like, in order to be a good leader, you also have to be a good teacher. So you have to be able to inform your community on the things that are happening and how they're happening, whether that means your brochures are easily readable to where people are getting this information and understanding what's happening, not that, I just put it on a paper, so I hope you saw it, just figuring out what's more accessible to your community, what's plain language to your community, what are their values, and how do you blow that up and show them that, hey, I'm here for you, I'm fighting for you, and I heard what you said, and so here's my result.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's part of the mission of this show is to really provide people with information. And I feel like I'm always getting so many like programs that, like you said, that we just didn't even know were available to us. Mm-hmm. There's just so many things. It's like nonstop. To have a one-stop shop of like you were there to really kind of say, okay, these are really the issues. These are the main things that we have to help in this community. That'd be amazing. Oh my God. I would love to have somebody like that. Like, you know what I mean? Who wouldn't want to have that resource? So that you want to be that resource pretty much to your community. Yes,
I want to be that resource for my community. I want us to feel like, and I don't know if this is one big dream, but dreams do come true. So I don't know if we can have these groups that are, like the social activist groups and they have different focuses in the community. Because I'm a big believer in the people with their boots on the ground. A lot of the complaints, and especially is because of my experience working in government for this short time even, they complain about the leaders that are at the top that don't take the time to listen to the people that are doing the work on the bottom. And so when we have our community leaders that specialize in housing and homelessness, that specialize in drug use, that specialize in all these different things, is there a time or a place where we can all come together, talk about these things, brainstorm, throw out ideas that can turn into policies, because they can do these things too. They know how to write bills. They know how to make laws. Is there some type of, policy workshop that we can create for all community leaders?
Well, that'd be great.
Can throw these, you know what I'm saying?
That's really smart.
Like a policy lounge or something, and it's just,
I love that, the policy workshop.
The policy workshop, just something that's out of the box that it's really people don't really think about, or maybe have thought about and just were too afraid to say it. Just different things that we could do so that we can get things done. I'm about getting things done.
Well, yeah, you're also like, I love that you're educating yourself along the way. And you're like, well, I'm going to go figure this out and figure that out. I mean, that's so ambitious. Like you said, you do have a young daughter. So how are you finding the time to do all these things? That's really impressive.
When she's asleep and when I'm not asleep. That's when I'm not at work. I do my best to balance my day and not take on too much responsibility. Of course, things overlap. They're messy. I'm involved in my church. I'm involved in my community. I have to work and I still have her. So just making sure that I'm taking care of myself and just staying organized and focusing on what's important. And I was telling some of the people out there, I said, I'm waiting till December. And that's when some of these commitments will end and I will start to shift. I'm building leaders in these last couple months so that I can leave somebody in charge of the things that I'm doing can continue going.
Yeah.
So that I can focus on the campaign because I know it's going to need 100% of my attention.
Strategizing, redirecting.
Yeah, redirecting.
All of that. But that's what you're supposed to do?
Yep.
In that role. So it's like, you're doing it now and you're starting it up.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. Do you have anybody that supports you that we know of, like anybody endorsing you that in the community that we're aware of?
No, we're just getting started. I don't have any official endorsements yet. But as soon as I have,
I know everybody likes you, so it's a matter of time, right? Like it's really a matter of time.
I think it's a matter of decision making. I think people are being forced to be brave and to be bold, and they have to actually go with what they believe and what they want versus what's popular and what they think they should be doing in order to stay in the group they're in or get to the next level. And I think this is a challenging season. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because I think a lot of people, they just kind of go with the flow, and I'm a disruptor, and so I'm blowing that all up right now, and they're not happy, but they love me, so
oh, that's funny.
So they got to figure it out.
How many people are running in that seat?
There's 5 so far.
There's 5 of you guys, okay. And then you guys all? It's all different parties, right, at the moment?
Yes, Democrat, Republican, and then I'm no party preference, and I'm not sure.
Is it hard to run with that being a no party preference?
I mean, I've heard that
I've heard that, but I don't know.
I've heard that it was.
Yeah.
And I'm finding, I'm always around Democrats, but I did run into a really lovely Republican lady, and I told her, you know, I want to see both sides because you're representing everybody. It's not, I understand why somebody would want to affiliate with a party, but that's not important to me. It's important. What everybody thinks is important is important. I'm not die-hard Democrat, die-hard Republican, and if you're not a Republican or if you're not a Democrat, then I'm not, you know, considering your ideas. And I feel like that's kind of like what I see, and that's what I don't want. I want to know, okay, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Like I said, how can we come together? I'm not really concerned with, I don't really like a lot of this because a lot of this is what holds things up from working. I want to know where's the misunderstanding? Where can we clarify this? Where can we compromise so we can get it going? I just want the result.
That's all it's about, is the result.
I just want the result, so.
Well, that is so awesome. I commend you for this. Where can we find you? What platforms, social media and everything can we find you on?
You can find me on Facebook, Swank for City Council. You can find me on Instagram, jai.swank, SWANK. And you can email me at swankforcitycouncil2026@gmail.com.
So you're really good at getting back to people when they want you, right?
Yes.
You'll answer all the questions. Is there any events that coming up that you're doing or whatever? Or are there any public platforms that you're speaking on that we can go and like ask you questions at?
On Saturday at 2 p.m., I will be having an informal get together at one of the houses in the district. So if you email me,
if we just stay loose, and you're kind of on a monthly, every month you're kind of doing something a little bit like that, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody just go to her, and then you'll let us know what dates that you're going to be out there and talking, and a lot of informal, which is great. We like stuff like that because we actually want access to you. You know what I mean? We don't need to have some big thing where we're not going to get to talk to you. So.
Right.
And you're great and personable, so I encourage everyone to come and talk to this girl because she is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sparkle.
Well, Eric, it's always a pleasure talking to you.
It's great to be back.
Tell us some more stuff about, because I always learn little, nuggets of information. You've been really deeply involved in politics for the past, 4 years, since you started your show?
Since COVID.
So 5 years.
Well, look, we shut down, May 8th, 18th of 2020. Within 10 days, I was on Blackstone and Shaw protesting. So I consider that the launch of my political career. And I'm standing out there with just a few people and a sign.
It was actually March 18th.
Yes, you're right.
It was a week of St. Patty's Day, because that's when we couldn't do the 17th. So I think it was even a little before that. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's when you launched it.
That's when I launched. Now, I'm standing here alone, and I'm willing to do it. I'm brave enough to be the guy standing alone. But I knew that there's no way I could begin to fix what was going on without help. And finally, I'm talking to one of the few other people that's there, and they're like, well, if you want a group, why don't you look on Facebook? And I ended up finding some local groups and starting being connected with people, started going to stuff. It wasn't long before I realized that the biggest difference was what local government you had. There was tyranny throughout the state of California, but we didn't experience it the same way, depending on where you lived. For instance, I often talk about the tale of two cities. They're sister cities. One's Fresno, who embraced tyranny and control. And we had Clovis, who was fully shut down from March 18th. We had a big meeting at May 8th. May 9th, Clovis said, if nothing's egregious in COVID violations, go back to work. And how can we help you? By the way, then they didn't get anybody. Now, for those that truly believed the COVID narrative, I want to point out that Clovis lost less people per capita to COVID than Fresno. Wonder why? We also, because we stayed open, we had emergency services. A lot of people don't realize that about 80% of, well, I got to break this down a little bit more. 80% of emergency services comes from two sources. One is sales tax, the other is property tax. Well, property tax is still going to happen, assuming people can afford to pay it during COVID, because a lot of people weren't even allowed to work. But sales tax would drop to nothing if we didn't reopen. Well, Clovis reopened, so we all of a sudden, we had a way to pay our police, our fire, and with a safe community, we became this hub. I know people from all around the Central Valley that specifically came to Clovis because we were open, because they could go to a restaurant and without sheeping up. I mean, wearing a mask. And I kind of see that people just took it. And people in Fresno largely took it. I went to, Reopen Fresno. There were multiple rallies right there in front of City Hall, in front of the Klingon warship. And the Fresno Bee had a reporter that was always there. I'm not friends with him, because you're entitled to your own opinions, but not your own facts. And he regularly lied about the number of people that were there. Now, for those of the people that are doubting me, I climbed up on the steps each time I was there. I went to all of them, because nothing else was really going on.
Yeah, he did go deep.
So I'm up on the steps, and I'm doing my best to count people. People are moving, but I'm going to be relatively close.
Yeah, relatively close.
Right, I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
But, numerous times, then I'd look at the Fresno Bee article, and it's like, there's 100 people here. Oh, a couple hundred. And I'm like, no, there's like 1,500. Okay. When I confronted this particular reporter, he doesn't like me, and we don't like each other at all. But I'm going to leave it at we don't like each other. Again, you're entitled to your own opinions about what and how we should deal with COVID. You're not entitled to your own facts. And numbers actually mean something. So I talked about Tale of Two Cities. Clovis had a meeting. They heard from mostly business owners saying, look, you're going to break us. And our city council listened. 4 of our 5 members, with the exclusion of Lynn Ashbeck, she's been there. She's kind of like expired milk. Her goodbye date is gone. And she not only voted against the reopening. I'd be okay with that if she gave her reasons. She did not give the reasons because she was up for re-election. When pushed by the mayor at the time, she would not give her reasons. When pushed by Bob Whalen, another council member at the time, she would not give her reasons. Just, I'm going to vote no, and I'm here. Everybody else has come in person, and I'm going to hide via Zoom. Because she wanted to be reelected. I don't think that served the city of Clovis, and frankly, I was embarrassed by that. I'm naming names. I then have called her out in front of the city council on this one. Again, I would be okay with, here's why I think it's wrong. This was the most important decision that any city council made in 2020. I believe that Clovis made the right decision. The fact that business thrived, that people were healthy, that we were not locked up and kind of going batshit crazy. Can I say that on your show?
You can say that on the show.
For instance, I was somebody, as I'm looking for something to do and I'm researching and I haven't found a group. That first 2 months, I really haven't found a group. I averaged walking 9 miles a day because I had nothing to do. I'd go list some stuff on eBay to bring in an income. Once I was done with that, I'd spend several hours researching. And then I'm like, well, I got energy to burn. And if I went over to Clovis, there were times when cops gave me grief for walking farther than 50 feet away from anybody else because I didn't have a mask on. I'm like, what kind of insanity have we arrived at? Now, none of them ever did anything when I just pushed back. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The only person that's near me is you because you're coming near me. Right. Now, are you going to arrest me for this? Because what's your badge number? I started asking them things like that, and suddenly they backed right off. But they were used to just being able to tell people what to do, and there seemed to be almost an addiction to that control. Newsom absolutely illustrated that addiction to control. Remember the person down in San Diego that got arrested for being on the beach by themselves? You remember how Newsom set up a hotline so you could rat out your neighbors if more than 10 people met? That's not taking care of liberty. That's authoritarian. Matter of fact, that's so much like this No Kings protest that we had.
Right.
Where's Newsom's crown? Well, I hope he never gets one. So anyway, this was kind of my background story, but it led me to, okay, I need to be in various groups. I realized that local made the big difference. So I needed to get people that would protect my liberty elected. I needed to shore up our election integrity problems where I could, or at the very least support the people that are trying to do it, because I can't do everything.
Right.
What I need to do is develop a network and try to make people as strong as possible to help them meet their potential, whether that's learning to speak in front of a camera well, whether that's teaching them how to use some social media so they can communicate ideas to their group of people. All of those little things matter. And I've felt that me being somebody that I am blessed with some skills, or a lot of the people say on the left, just a big mouth, but either way, it's okay. That began to make a difference. Then about 2 years ago, an opportunity, because during a presidential year, you can be elected for the Republican Central Committee. And so I ran. I came in second, but 8 people were running, 7 were selected. It's the top 7. If there'd been 12, it's the top 7 one way or the other. I only lost to our Fresno County Supervisor, Nathan Magzik, with no name recognition, and I beat everybody else, and I did not use my show as a platform. I just talked to people.
Wow.
And so I'm kind of proud of that. Unfortunately, while I think that the Central Committee is one of the places for the greatest potential for good, by that I mean electing people that are common sense, supporting people that are common sense, getting people to vote, getting people to register in a way that's common sense. For me, that means Republican. We have a broken system because we've got leadership that is, less than desirable. I'm not going to totally trash them, but if you can see the look on my face, folks, it's not good. So I realized I had to work through other groups, maybe groups that are functional where things can get done. And I became a delegate for the state party. I've done that the last two cycles, last 2 years. I've continued to do my show and try to communicate ideas and talk to friends, try to develop a relationship so that we have a network. And not only that, not only do we need a network, we need to, at the very minimum, not be running against one another if we largely agree. We need to be moving in the same direction. So that means we're not always going to be working in the same lane, like somebody's concerned with election integrity, somebody's concerned with what's happening with the border, and somebody's concerned with COVID or medical freedom. Well, all those are legitimate lanes, but what if we don't stomp on one another? We work towards a similar goal, and for me that goal is bringing California back to a place of common sense.
Do you feel like we're getting closer to that goal?
I think we are getting closer to that goal. There's been a lot of good candidates. A lot of people that were not political have emerged. Somebody you know well, somebody that I think is absolutely great. I don't know that he's going to be elected, but I think he's absolutely great.
You can say names.
Leo Zaki. I think he's absolutely great. He's the type of thing that California needs. He's young, he's smart, he's energetic, he's running for governor. You should at least check him out. I hope he breaks through. At this point, he hasn't broken through.
Wow.
But he's not alone. There are all kinds of people I've met that are young, smart, and now motivated to bring the change they want to see rather than sit on their butts. I believe it can happen. Our country was founded not by the majority of the population. You realize that somewhere between, and it depends on which history book you read, somewhere between 6 and 12% of the U.S. the colonial population, because they weren't even the U.S. population yet, participated actively in the war against, in the Revolutionary War against England.
Yeah.
So 6 to 12%. Everybody else sat on the sidelines. What's going to happen?
Exactly.
Well, we got more than 6%. If we got off our butts, we could change California. So I think there's hope. Does that mean it's going to be red? Not necessarily. But does that mean it could have common sense where maybe the government isn't trying to control everything, so that local governments could decide how they wanted to regulate what's going on?
Right.
Maybe we could have reasonable gas prices, because we're not even counting, because we've got this clean energy thing, because they believe in global warming. We're not even counting hydroelectric power as clean energy. Did you know that?
No.
Other places around the world put up hydroelectric power because they consider it clean energy. We don't count it in California. That means that because we're mandated by the state that a certain percentage has to be clean energy. But that clean energy costs quite a lot more. There's problems with solar, with the recycling of the panels, how much they last, how much they cost. They're getting better, and maybe there's some hope there. If we look at the windmills, they kill birds. We have a real problem with the recycling. It's not common sense. Up till just recently, we finally allowed for new oil wells to be explored and drilled in California. There's been a few-year moratorium. They're starting to run out of oil. Oil's not going away for a while. It's a nice thought that it eventually goes away, but it's the thing that pulled people up out of poverty.
You're very right. So where do we watch the show? We want to all watch your show and see what's going on.
You can find me on Rumble, the Constitutionalist Podcast with Eric Rollins. You can find me on Facebook, the Constitutionalist Podcast. I have a page. You can find me somewhat on X. I'm not big on X. You can find me on YouTube, Truth Social. Yeah, that's all the places that matter.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Well, I hope I didn't ramble too much, because we didn't have much of a conversation.
We're gonna have you back. Don't worry. We're not done with you yet, Eric.
Well, I'll be happy to come back.
Thank you so much.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.
Hi, I'm Sparkle Sujan, and I am the host of the Everything Sparkle Show. I would like to invite you to come and hang out with me every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as I interview the world one guest at a time. Everything Sparkle is available on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and CMAC.tv. Plus, if you're in the Central California area, you can watch on Comcast Xfinity Channel 93 or AT&T UVerse Channel 99. Hope to see you there.